The internet is a big dumpster.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Piss-drunk fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. Oh, I just can't understand it. Conquer divine by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, Sherlock! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, Sherlock! Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finished first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She rolls in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like cats ready to gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public benefit. Conquer the body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, Sherlock! I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, Sherlock! Read into the lyrics. So let the parties will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finished first.
Everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project because this is a listener and viewer supported project. You can support it at patreon.com/Echoplex or at eplex.store. Sign up at that $5 level or higher. And I don't know, you get this same show that you're listening to right now sent to you in your inbox. Plus red light. I do understand that not everyone listens live. So, yeah, I guess that's it. I'm producer Dave, and you can find me on Blue Sky at Plex-Dave, and this is, as always, what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Thank your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fearless judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
All right, sometimes one of you sends me something that we absolutely have to run because it happened during the week, and it just doesn't really fit with anything. So this terrible ass story, it goes first.
You may think that your pets are protected with microchips, right? But they may not be after all. One of the country's largest microchip companies went down the tubes just a year ago.
Yeah, and the company took its registry of owners with it. As David Winter shows us, local shelters continue to find lost pets with unregistered chips, which are now useless to help reunite animals and owners.
That's a good boy.
They named him Phil Collins when Springfield Township Police last week turned over this 6-year-old shepherd to Cincinnati Animal Care. Fortunately, he was microchipped, normally enabling animal care techs to scan Phil and find his owner.
So obviously when he came in, you scanned him. What'd you find?
We found immediately their chips are identifiable with the first 3 digits of 991. We pretty much immediately knew that he had one of those chips. We did a microchip lookup and found out, confirmed that it was Save This Life.
Save This Life was one of the larger pet microchip companies in the country with millions of pets registered. It went out of business in January of last year.
This happened with very little notice to pet owners, veterinarians, and shelter partners.
So what was the result?
The result was that any microchip that was registered with Save This Life is no longer registered.
Miriam Labson is with another one of the major microchip companies, 24 Pet Watch. She says Save This Life's registry went down with the ship and it did not notify its registrants.
Unfortunately, because there was not great communication that went out from Save This Life, there are many pet parents who I'm sure do not realize still that their pets are not protected.
Cincinnati Animal Care has found 65 dogs that were registered with Save This Life. Owners came in to claim about half of them, but the other half remained at the shelter until they were adopted. 6 still remain unclaimed.
It's okay, baby. Good boy.
Good boy. Oh, very good boy.
Good boy, Bubba.
It's that quick and easy to get microchipped like Orange Creamsicle just did. It's also quick and easy.
Who the fuck names their dog Orange Creamsicle?
Whether your pet is registered with a company that's still in business. It should be on your pet's paperwork when you got them, or shelters, vets, and even some police departments have scanners so you can make sure your pets can find their way home if they are lost.
Oh, you're giving me so much to think about. My last girl came from Warren County. Whatever service they used at the shelter there is what I have, but I don't know. And if I have a registration number, how do I find out where it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions remain, right?
Yeah.
So there are about 40 different companies that register chips, but the American Animal Hospital Association has a lookup tool online that does allow people to plug in that number, and then it will tell you with which company your pet is registered. You can call that company or go to the website and make sure that your information is up to date.
Someone's watching this story and they realize, hey, my pet's microchip was registered with the company that went out of business, saved this life. What's the first thing they need to do?
Yeah, well, don't panic. That's the important thing. And don't get your pet re-chipped. Any of the major companies will re-register you, and I'll put a list of those major companies under this story on local12.com, but most of them do not charge, and most allow you to do it online. The important thing to do is to check your pet's chip and make sure that you are registered somewhere so you can be reunited with your pet if it is lost.
The good news here is that there seems to be a solution, and it's not too difficult to get to that.
Just got to do it.
It's just breaking my heart. I saw a white poodle. If you lost a white poodle in Mount Washington the other day, and I tried to stop.
Yes, you're talking about this.
It went into the woods. I couldn't get it, and it's still breaking my heart. And I hope there was one out there, and it was in good condition 2 days ago, and I hope someone got it.
They probably found it.
I hope so.
Well, that sucks. Like, this is another like argument against like these proprietary systems for something like this. I don't understand why this isn't just an open source project, right? Like I don't know. The chip can't be too fucking complicated. And maintaining a list, even like a large list, is not very expensive. Like, I don't understand why this, like, and the other thing is, like, who the fuck owned this company that was, they couldn't just pass the fucking list on to somebody? Why not? Why can't you just pass the fucking list on to somebody? It doesn't seem very hard. It's like, here's the list. You fucking assholes. But anyway, yeah, that story didn't fit with anything else. Thanks to Rizunabi for sending that to us. Somebody in chat said the list has value. Yeah, it's potential customers too, right? You might be able to, somebody might give you some money for that list, right? Those are good leads, potential customers, pet owners, right? I'm surprised. I suppose that the people who are on that list don't want their information being sold, but also like my information about fucking my stream right now is probably being sold to somebody. So like, there's nothing. Yeah, I would imagine that they could have gotten something for it. It sucks, dude. They just threw it away. Hell dumb. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna move on to other. Not better news, that's for sure. This is everybody know that former Prince Andrew was arrested, and Donald Trump was asked about it, and of course, he fucking said dumb stuff. Because he always says dumb stuff. It's his job.
Former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated.
He started with "I'm the expert." It's like, yo, bro.
Very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they... But I'm the one that can talk about it.
Yeah, but like there's some evidence that people weren't talking about it because you had them killed.
I'm totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages.
He was against me. He was fighting me in the last election. This guy, dude, man, you could just fucking not say anything, friend. I mean, he's not my friend, but what if you just don't say anything? You don't see. What if you just fucking once in a while just take the L? Just be like, I don't know, man. This is a big L for everybody involved. Like, I don't know. Does it seem like that's like, I don't know. You'd at least respect it a little bit. But he's like, oh, it's so sad for everybody, for these fucking state sponsored celebrities. Real sad for them. Because that's all really the fucking royal family is in the UK at this point. It's like state sponsored celebrity. Woe is the state-sponsored celebrity family. Up next, we got Ted Lieu. I'm going to talk about what he claims that he saw in the unredacted files that members of Congress were allowed to take a look at.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage the press to go look at these allegations, and I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they
I think they did that part on purpose.
did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all
I forgot about that. Just the oh, by the way, the co-conspirator, the main co-conspirator for Jeff Epstein, met with the deputy attorney general, and then he moved her into a lower security facility and bought her a puppy. I fucking forgot about that. So crazy, so fucking insane. But don't worry, friends. What you need to know is that you should ignore the fact that Steve Bannon is all up in this shit too. Because Lance Wallnau says that Steve Bannon is a good man, a man of God.
Bannon's a good guy. He was giving PR advice. Didn't have the full skinny on on the blackmail stuff that was going on with Epstein. And I think he should be given the benefit of the doubt, because if we keep on Candace Owens, we're creating a word for that, Candace Owens ourselves, we're going to end up going down every absurd rabbit trail and find out that the left is going to...
Dude, a rabbit trail, wait, he means a rabbit hole, like, wouldn't a rabbit trail be like poop?
With a blunt object when it comes to midterms. He's a good guy. He was giving PR advice. Didn't have the
People
full
suck at this so bad. All right, so that guy thinks that we should just, I don't know, Steve, we can't everybody. He was giving PR advice. Like, dude, Steve Bannon knew all the way. Steve Bannon is the most online motherfucker you have ever met. Steve Bannon knew 105% of what the fuck was going on there. Steve, like, I don't like Steve Bannon, but that doesn't mean I think he's a dummy, right? Steve Bannon is pretty fucking smart. Like, how do you look as terrifying as he does and make it the way that he has? And, the Newsmax host Carl Higbee actually doesn't share Lance Wallnau's view.
But something that really caught my eye was a few emails from a guy who's made his career about railing against the deep state and the system and the bad actors in it. Emails talking about trying to get integrated in some groups that had super shady intentions. And I'm talking about a guy that I used to call my friend, Steve Bannon. Folks, I told you...
Oh, this shit's personal? Boo.
...that when the Epstein list came out, I would have zero loyalties to anyone that was doing or exposed for doing anything that appeared to be illegal, immoral, contrary to their public statements or anything. And here it is. Look, this is a part of the Epstein files that's gone overlooked. Beyond the pedos and all the other weird stuff, something that affects far more than just kids on an island, which is bad. but world order and circumventing our constitutional republic. And Bannon appears to have some really shady conversations with people who might be trying to do that. Look, I'll tell you folks, I was a Bannon defender early. I really liked the guy back in the day. I was a defender of his when he was in the first administration. So could have gotten it wrong. Okay? But Steve Bannon exchanged thousands of emails with Epstein post-conviction. Why? And I want to be fair to him. Before I go any further, he did release a statement that said, quote, a spokesman for Bannon confirmed that his interactions with Epstein were an attempt to integrate himself with him for the documentary. Okay. Then why are some of these emails about paying a complex network of hackers? Look, I'm just going to read some of this stuff verbatim.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Why, dude? Yeah, these people are fucking. They're organized crime. What's going on here is some of the stuff people are like, I can't believe that organized crime is behaving like organized crime. They're like, oh, I thought it was just the trafficking of the girls. No, the organized crime behaves like organized crime. And so, yeah, they're going to have hackers and botnets, and they're going to do all kind of shady stuff, maybe to keep Jeff's name like buried in search results. They're going to do all kind of shit. Yes, it's organized crime.
The following is presented without my opinion and reading directly from the emails. You can decide if this is about a documentary. In some of the exchanges between Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein, it makes my hair go up, okay? Let me just go through this. In an exchange, and I'm going to read these directly from this files that you see on your screen right there. Epstein wrote, I'm wrestling with how you get these guys on your side. You want disruption? Wow. 20K strong. All they need is the China speech, as they're enamored with the size and naively don't recognize the ruse. Bannon wrote back, do you know these guys? ? Epstein wrote, some of the founders and organizers, they are the most dangerous force in today's society by far, in caps. Bioweapons pale due to blowback. Nuclear, 60-year-old technology. What other 60-year-old tech frightens you? Space frontier. Can't operate without software. Bannon wrote back.
What the fuck are these guys taught? The other thing that occurs to me is every time, like I've been looking through some of it, but not much. But why? What is wrong with these people in the way that they send emails? Like I would just be like, I don't care what they're talking about. If emails are formatted like this, I'm like, stop emailing me.
Wow, you know these guys? ? What was the 20K reference? Do you think I could get an invite to speak? Epstein writes back, there are 20,000 hackers showing up at the same place. They'll be sharing ideas on hacking crypto exchanges, voting booths, medical records.
They're just talking about DEF CON. This is nothing, actually. They're just talking about DEF CON. This is like literally nothing.
Crypto wallets, denial of service attacks, competitions as to which team can break a secure code, a Jeopardy-style competition.
Yeah, fucking pound to own and shit, dude. Yeah, like, get out of here, dude. This is just DEF CON.
Breaking phones, networks, hacking self-driving cars and planes, etc. Bannon writes, get it. Epstein wrote back, whole litany of things, but he said hacks that can be bought and have never been used. The conference of hackers Bannon was trying to speak to were these guys.
Oh, DEF CON. Yeah, I knew it was just about DEF CON.
DEF CON. Why was he trying to meet and speak at an event with people who were hacking crypto wallets and phones and planes and, according to these emails, voting machines that we were told couldn't?
That's what they do at the security. This is a security conference. That's what they do. What this guy's hella naive. This guy doesn't know anything. That's why he's at Newsmax.
Be hacked. I can't believe I'm about to quote these guys, but Ted Lieu, who I have zero things in common with, far left, ridiculous, out of
far left. Ted Lieu
warned us this was a thing, but then, actually, according to his own website, he went to the same conference himself and then met with the same hackers bragging about, according to these emails, being able to hack voting machines.
Yes. Yes, it's a cybersecurity conference. Yes, there are fucking members of Congress, state legislatures. Yes. What does this guy think is happening at DEF CON?
with Eric Swalwell and Ron Wyden also there.
Yeah. Yes, members of Congress go to DEF CON. That is correct. DEF CON is crawling with federal agents and shit too, dude.
When they went there, they bragged about being a part of this conference on their own website, saying that the reason they were there was to, quote, help secure our elections. That's their quote. And then they told us all throughout the next 4 years that our tech was secure, and it was the most secure election ever after bragging.
Right, that's because, oh, this is so stupid. Like, listen, you give somebody with the appropriate skill set enough time and fucking access to a machine, they're going to get in. Right? They're going to get in. If the machine is connected to a network in any way, they're going to get in. Somebody going to figure out how to get in. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that everybody's hacking all the fucking election equipment all the time. It just means that under a controlled set of circumstances with enough time, people can get, and that when there's no consequences for it, right, where you're not going to get arrested for it because that's what you're there to do, people going to get into shit. It is, I mean, you could hack a brand new Toyota Camry. Does that mean you shouldn't buy a new Toyota Camry? Fuck no. If you're buying a new car, that's probably the best one to buy. They got one of those fucking things that has 350 horsepower and it hauls ass. It's not going to get hacked just driving down the street. This guy's an idiot.
The people who Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon claimed could hack our elections. Their words, not mine. Make it make sense.
No. They brought some machine associated with the elections, maybe several of them, with the current software, probably provided by the companies that make the machines, right? They're like, here, how long does it take you to get into this machine? What sort of controlled set of circumstances would you need to get into this machine? And then ideally, the idea here is that the company that makes the machine learns from the people that have gotten into the machine. It's called penetration testing. Everybody does it. No, the goal is not to be like, haha, you couldn't get into our system. That's not you find somebody who can, or a group of people who can, and you find out how they did it.
Or any other officials in any other role, meeting with people who, according to these emails, were doing or trying to do or possess the power to do all that.
The power, yes. Yes. Sure. If it's got code, it can be fucking compromised.
Else too. That even goes crazier than this stuff with Bannon. Why was he talking about replacing Trump, swapping Pompeo as the VP with Mike Pence, and then using the 25th Amendment to make Pompeo the president? These are
because Steve Bannon is crazy like a fox.
To be Epstein confirmed to be with Bannon. Quote, I like the idea of Pence stepping down in favor of Pompeo, so when it happens, he becomes president. That's from allegedly Epstein. And I'm thinking, it? What do you mean by it? Bannon responding.
Well, you could get the context and find out what do you mean when it happens? Donald Trump is made like of Big Macs, so maybe they're just talking about the fact that the dude's just going to keel over one day.
That is his name. Has this been shopped? Epstein replies, Rudy did lay out impeachment, Pelosi vote, and don't go after Ivanka. Bannon says, great.
Why not go after Ivanka? That's the first lady.
Great. Impeaching Trump? Well, I mean, we now know Pompeo was not a product of MAGA doctrine and was heavily critical of Trump once he left his first term, showing his true colors. And Bannon wanted him to become president?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Am I reading that? There's a possibility that Bannon did nothing wrong and these are being misinterpreted. There's a possibility, giving him the benefit of the doubt here, considering he was, like, I defended this guy. I thought he was good for the administration initially. But there's some splaining to do about beyond talking about a documentary to revitalize Jeffrey Epstein's image.
Yeah, but dude, you're so stupid. You don't know why people go to DEF CON, so I don't think anybody has anything to explain to this fucking Carl Higbee. I mean, he doesn't like Steve Bannon, but this is dumb. This is all dumb shit, right? It's like, oh, they wanted to talk about going to DEF CON, and then Ted Lieu went to DEF CON. Bitch, everybody's at DEF CON. DEF CON is like, you are so much fucking, so much CIA and FBI and NSA and fucking organizations that technically don't exist there. You are not going to like some counterculture thing over at DEF CON. That shit is like the deep state. It is the deep state. Up next. That's all of our Epstein news this week because I didn't feel like doing a bunch of Epstein shit. Up next, we got Donald Trump just thinking about, just musing about maybe going into Atlanta. Just, I don't know. They already fucking seized a bunch of ballots from the county that most of Atlanta is in. So why not just send the fucking Gestapo there?
Need a little help. You need help in Atlanta. He just said, you're right. Atlanta, we could take care of Atlanta. I'll tell you what, you ought to get them to call me. We could take care of Atlanta so fast. They don't want to call. They don't want to call because they don't want to admit it, and they'll never fix it themselves. Don't forget, we move people out. We don't just go in and, be tough guys. We move people out. We take career criminals and we get them out. We bring them back to the country from where they came. And think of it, 90% of the crime is caused by 2% of the people. Think of it. So when you get the criminals out, you solve a lot of problems.
Whoa, dude. So, Minneapolis is a one thing. He does have a pin of himself on himself. I heard somebody in chat did notice that. That's pretty fucking stupid. Minneapolis is one thing. I don't know if it's such a, like, Atlanta is one of those. You probably don't want to go to Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta a few times. I love the place, but I don't know, man. I'm not sure that you should, that it's a good idea to try to send the Gestapo into Atlanta. I think that it's just a very different place from Minneapolis. I'll say that. If only the Democrats would ask us for help, we could clean everything up.
Thousands and thousands of lives in many cities, and frankly, if these radical left lunatic Democrats would come and say, please help us, please, we'd stop crimes all over the place. And we're doing it in a lot of cities. Sometimes we have to force ourselves upon them because they're so bad. And I don't even think they realize what's happening to their cities and their towns.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. You've been talking, man, you should not be trying to force yourself on Atlanta. Also, I don't know. Another bad place to maybe send them. I mean, I don't know, send them to Oakland. I don't want that to happen in my city, but I'm just saying that, like, if he sends them to San Jose, Mayor Matt Mahan, running for governor, would welcome them with open arms. So up next, we got two people. They are Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I almost called him Hamburglar Dan. That's a different Dan. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are going to talk about Antifa. And they're experts on it. And I just want to show you the still of this before we start. I don't know what is going on with Kash Patel. He just looks like... I don't know what's happening here. Something very unsettling about this man. Anyway, two Antifa experts.
Director, your thoughts on this? I covered earlier in the show that there's a reason a lot of these politicized, weaponized bureaucrats try to avoid talking about Antifa as an organized group of threat actors. What they wanted to do is they wanted to have all the benefits of organizing: money, publicity, the ability to use social media to tell people to show up and throw rocks and bricks. They wanted to have all of that. But they didn't want to face the legal penalties. Being an attorney and now being on the FBI side, the investigative side, that the government forbids that type of criminal organization through RICO statutes, VICAR, and other things. So they want it one way. They want to organize and use it. But then when it comes to saying, well, they're organizing it for this purpose, they say, oh, no, that's not an organization. It's just an idea.
No, listen, they are retreating and backtracking through a wall that they used to be able to break through under prior administrations because no one held them accountable.
Wait, what does that mean? They're retreating and backtracking through a wall that they used to be able to break through? What is this guy? This guy's an idiot.
And now, after the first year that we reestablish how this place, how this building, how this lead premier law enforcement agency actually operates and goes after not just threat actors overseas and those who are willing to do harm to American lives, but those who cause violence here in America and use the guise of politics to delete that violence. We're not going to tolerate that. And these groups like Antifa and anyone else involved in these riots across the country and involved in paying for them.
Where are the riots?
In any way, shape, or form, this FBI, thanks to what we stood up over the last year, has made significant headway under the NSPM 7 process in looking at those who funded these streams and are starting to arrest people who used their funds to incite violence in the guise of political peaceful protest.
Like who? Do you remember when they said they found the leader of Antifa in fucking Portland or some shit? It was just some like 29-year-old dude who worked at like a fucking half-price bookstore or something. Does anybody remember this? This is like a couple weeks ago. We didn't cover it because I was just like, I can't even begin to think about covering this. And somebody in chat mentioned, did you just say streams? I think he meant like streams of money, not like live streams, but they might be literally specifically, they might actually just go arrest Hassan Piker too. I'm not like some huge fan of Hassan Piker, but he seemed all right. You know, he's an entertainer. He's popular. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, we found the leader of Antifa. It's Hassan fucking Piker. Anyway, up next, I guess we're done with the fear of cities part. And did you know Trump's going to China soon? And China better roll out the fucking red carpet for Donald Trump, let me tell you. Because last time they did, and, well, I'll let him explain. This is fucking weird.
I thought this would be easy because I have a very good relationship with President Putin. I have a very good relationship with President Xi. I'm going to be going to China in April. That's going to be a wild one. I said, but we have to put on the biggest display you've ever had in the history of China. You know, last time I went to China, President Xi, he treated me so well. He gave me a display. I never saw so many soldiers all the same height, exactly the same height within a quarter of an inch. You can do that when you have 1.4 billion people. You know, lots of shoulders. Everybody was within about 1/8 of an inch the same height. I said, if they put their helmets down, you could have played pool on the top of their heads. And it was pretty amazing. But I said, you got to top it. He said, I'll top it. We're going to top it. We're going to have a lot of the people, most of the fake news back there is going to be going.
It's like all the soldiers are the same height because it's China. Oh, man, this is fucking amazing. You could put on a good show. Got to put on a great show for me. Man, these world leaders, I think they probably all just gas this guy up because it's probably funny, right? They're like, oh, I don't know, we'll just get some fucking people to march when this guy comes. It's like, you know, a lot of people thought, oh, China, it's very foreign. Motherfucker, that's just us, but in China. You think those people don't think this guy's fucking stupid? You think they don't know how to play this guy? They're absolutely gassing this guy up. That's what I'd do. So, did you know that diplomacy is when you steal oil from another sovereign nation? I didn't know that, but that's what diplomacy is.
Initially, $500 million worth of Venezuelan oil sales were put into a bank in Qatar. It's my understanding that money's out of there and it goes back to the Venezuelan people as of now. Can you just give us an update on that? How much oil can Venezuela sell on the market that can either benefit that country or the United States in this energy push?
Oh, an enormous amount. We've sold about $1 billion of oil so far. We've recently signed agreements to sell about another $5 billion worth of oil in the next several months. So you're talking well north of $10 billion a year. This is enormous revenue to start to rebuild a country and a society, reestablish a free press and a representative government, and bring a specific kind of crude.
Wait. How'd that go in Iraq?
That American refineries were built to run on in the 1970s. It'll actually help asphalt production in the United States as well, making road building cheaper. This is a win all around and a transformation of a country without any American soldiers on the ground and without any American taxpayer dollars. This is way out of the box, groundbreaking Trump diplomacy.
We're going to watch it. Hope you come back, too, because we'd like to learn along the way. Christopher Wright, good travels to you in Paris, and we'll talk.
Christopher Wright.
Very soon, sir. Thank you.
I don't know about all this, man. I feel like it's very, very small amount of time since Maduro was captured. I'm not sure how popular Maduro was, but that really doesn't mean that people in Venezuela like the idea of the United States coming in and taking over their fucking oil fields. So I'm assuming we're not too far away from it. Some of these places where, oh, we're getting all this oil. Well, some of those places are going to start exploding, right? They're going to call it terrorism because that's what they're going to call it. But that's just, remember how in Iraq after during the invasion, they lit a bunch of oil fields on fire and shit. Shit that was very difficult to put out because of the amount of pressure and whatnot. And I have a feeling we're going to see stuff like that in Venezuela because, like I said, those people don't have to be in love with no Maduro to think it's real bad for the U.S. to come take over. Up next, we got there was a meeting of the Board of Peace, and wouldn't you know it, no one, not even this guy, not even Jared Kushner, is personally profiting from the Board of Peace.
What you've seen today is just a small sample of the work that's been done. And I really want to thank the entire team that's worked so hard at this. A lot of these people are volunteers. They're doing this not for any personal gain. People are not personally profiting from this. They are really doing this for their children and for their grandchildren and because they want to see peace.
That guy's unsettling to look at. It's like if you could make Mark Zuckerberg just a little bit more unsettling to look at, that's fucking Jared Kushner. And what is he doing in the government? He's not appointed to anything. You think he's drawing a salary off that Board of Peace? I guarantee you he is. More from the Board of Peace meeting. This is Vice President J.D. Vance. This is like a please laugh moment. And for me, it's like, please load. And then the video loads. This guy's funny, everybody. Check it out.
Thank you, Mr. President, very much for your leadership, but also for the kind words about me personally. I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but then after the president said that I was so smart and that I didn't want to repeat our congresswoman who froze for 20 seconds over in Munich, now I'm tempted, sir, just to freeze for 20 seconds and just stare at the cameras, and maybe they'll say nice things about me like they do about Congresswoman Cortez. But I have three very brief messages.
Man, there's supposed to have been a joke in there somewhere, but I think even the audience that he's there for, they were inclined to maybe want to laugh at his joke, but his comedic timing is so bad that he can't even get people who are super inclined to laugh at a bad joke to laugh at a bad joke. Because people who are inclined to laugh at a bad joke are just going to laugh at the bad joke, but you have to be able to deliver it in the form of a fucking joke so they know what unfunny part of the thing that you're saying you're supposed to laugh at. I format things in the format of a joke all the time, and none of what I'm saying around here is very funny, I don't think, a lot of the time, even if I'm laughing at myself. So more from this Board of Peace meeting. This is Donald Trump. Marco Rubio actually asked them to name whatever building they're in after Donald Trump. It wasn't Trump's idea. It was little Marco. Little Marco did it.
This building was built for peace, and nobody knew what to name it. And then Marco named it after me. I had nothing to do with it. I swear I didn't. I swear, I had no idea. They said there's a surprise coming. I didn't know that surprise. I thought they were going to give me a lot of money or something, maybe cash. Could always use some extra cash. But I came and they stopped.
Walking around money.
I got out very safely, I'm sure, and looked up, and there it said, Donald J. Trump on the building. And when I say that had nothing to do, nobody believes it, and that's okay. But I appreciated it. That was Marco and JD and a group got together and they did that. And I just thought it was very nice.
And these people for hating communists and shit, this guy sure wants to do what Stalin did, right? Fucking put just statues and fucking put his name on everything and shit. This should be illegal. I feel like after we get rid of this, if this country comes back to even something that approaches sanity at some point, we need to do a couple things. And one of the less important things we need to do, but still to prevent people like Donald Trump, is just to not actually to be like, you can't name anything after a president while they're in office. right? You just can't do it. No. Like, we have a lot of other things we need to do too, but we go with can't name something after the president I'd say any federal official, right? You can't name it after us. Can't name any federal building after a senator while they're in office, House of Representatives person. Fuck, maybe stop naming things after people anyway, because that's not that great anyway, right? You start naming things after people and then times change and you're like, uh-oh, got to change the name of this thing, don't we? So up next, we got, there was a paper, some kind of study of some sort from New York, the Federal Reserve of the state of New York, and it's about tariffs, and apparently the people who wrote this paper at the Fed, the New York State Federal Reserve, need to be disciplined because they wrote a paper that this guy doesn't like. This is CNBC, which is becoming more and more fascist by the moment.
A study by the New York Federal Reserve claims 90% of the tariff burden is being shouldered by U.S. firms and consumers, but the White House disagrees. Joining us now, White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. This will be, Kevin, good to see you. This will be a continuation of a discussion we had yesterday with Ambassador, with our trade representative, Jameson Greer, and we talked about whether something's regressive. But we'll try to get into all of this. And we saw an inflation number last week, 2.4%. If it is being shouldered by U.S. firms and consumers, U.S. firms are eating some of it, or consumers it's being offset by something else, whether it's lower gas prices or something else, because just in the numbers themselves, that doesn't hold water. Yes. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the paper is an embarrassment. It's, I think, the worst paper I've ever seen in the history of the Federal Reserve System. The people associated with this paper should presumably be disciplined because what they've done,
like how,
put out a conclusion which has created a lot.
Why should they discipline? How are they going to spank them?
News that's highly partisan based on analysis that wouldn't be accepted in a first semester econ class. The bottom line is that if you're wondering like who bears the burden of something, of a tariff, then you remember, Joe, you got supply curves, demand curves, you shift them around, you got consumer surplus, you got producer surplus, and then you look and see how it all works out in the end. And they're basically only looking at changes in prices. So they're assuming that quantities don't move at all. But guess what? Quantities did move at all. So the basic theory of President Trump's tariffs is that we're importing stuff from China, but we got producers in the U.S. that make the same stuff, maybe at a slightly higher price. If we bring the stuff home, create the demand at home, then that will hurt China and drive up wages in the U.S., and American consumers will be better off. So what have we seen? Prices have gone down. Inflation is down over time. Import prices dropped a lot in the first half of the year and then leveled off. And real wages were up $1,400 on average last year, which means that consumers were made better off by the tariffs. And so consumers couldn't have been made better off by the tariffs if this New York Fed analysis was correct. It's really just an embarrassment. But I can't imagine who signed off on it, frankly.
But in the best case,
real wages are up $1,400. Divide that by 12. That's per month. What are you getting? A little more? Everybody's getting like $100 more a month, kind of, sort of, maybe. I bet all that fucking shit is at the top too, right? I bet all the fucking all that growth is at the top. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but this is bullshit. There's also a way in which you can't tariff something that's already here. So like there's some items where they just, because they're non-perishable, whatever, right? Maybe even TVs. There's just these import-export businesses or whatever. They just keep so many of them. You know, Amazon, how many TVs do they have in warehouses across the country? Like maybe this doesn't hit right away. Who knows? But this is bullshit. But my favorite part is he's like, oh, the person that wrote this paper I don't like, they should be disciplined. And I'm just thinking, like, should they get their hands smacked with a ruler? Should they be put on timeout? Like what are you going to do to this person that works at the Fed at New York? You fire him, I guess. Anyway, up next, did you know that Donald Trump can do whatever he wants, even if the Supreme Court says no, which is what he's saying here. Because there was a ruling this week that Donald Trump's tariffs are unconstitutional. Some of them, I don't know the exact details, but that he does need to go to Congress for some of this stuff. It was 6-3 too, not even 5-4. So the Supreme Court got one right, kind of. But watch Donald Trump.
Charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries. Certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any.
Yo, dude, you're actually not supposed to impose embargoes on countries randomly or fucking stop trading with countries. You're not supposed to do any of that, right? This stuff is all supposed to go through Congress. We've gone down the slope pretty far of this unitary executive theory. Honestly, it's not just Trump, right? It's been the president has been doing all kind of stuff unilaterally, both Democrats and Republicans. And it seems like the checks and balances that are supposed to be built into our system don't have any teeth. So that's what's going on there. But I love how he's like, I can embargo them. I can destroy their country. It's like, why? Why are you doing any of this? That's the fucking thing here. It's like you don't have to do any of this. I can't even charge him $1. Here's Jesse Waters. He doesn't get it here. He's fucking so stupid. He's talking about Gavin Newsom, who I'm not a huge fan of either, obviously. But this is Jesse Waters. This guy's just fucking mind-expandingly stupid. Watch this.
Democrats don't even know it yet, but they just walked into a pretty big trap. Newsom's saying Americans should get a tariff refund.
Donald Trump should return that money immediately. He has an obligation, $1,751 per family, that were taxed by Donald Trump. He took hundreds of billions of dollars from working folks, from the ag community, from small businesses, for this vanity play, this illegal action. And he finally was held to account. The rule of law won out.
Tariff stimmy checks with Trump's name on it right before the midterms. I'm into it.
He's fucking stupid ass. Fucking there's nobody to root for here, but Gavin Newsom does not think that Donald Trump or anybody is going to send out $1,750. And what does he mean every family? I don't like that either. It's like every person. I need the money more than most families do. What the fuck? I had to buy audio gear while the tariffs were at their highest. Send me all the money. This is dumb as fuck. Jesse Waters is just, I love that he exists, but I wish that he existed under a different system where the stuff he was doing was funnier. Up next, we got Benny Johnson, who we don't cover nearly enough, or maybe by covering him at all right now, we're covering him too much. He's going to say that ruling against the president is a big no-no.
Here is breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. No, that's fine. This is breaking news. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump on tariffs. That's not good. This is a big no-no.
It's a big no-no to rule against the no. That's literally the job of the Supreme Court. This is not a big no-no.
This is going to obviously be pretty bad. And going to have some wide-reaching manifestations and consequences. Yikes. Let's go ahead and open up the court reader here. Question presented, whether the International Emergency Economic Powers authorizes the president to impose tariffs. Shortly after taking office, President Trump sought to address the foreign threats, influx of illegal drugs from Canada and Mexico, and so on, all these federal regulations. He imposed tariffs to deal with each threat. As drug trafficking tariffs, President Trump imposed 25% duty on Canadian blah, blah, blah. Goodness, great. Holy smokes. How long is this ruling? 170 pages?
Holy smokes, this stuff's complicated. Look at this guy. Yeah. Fool, the ruling isn't just like, we rule against the president. Yeah, there's like, yes, it includes references. It's yes.
Pages? 170 pages? Goodness gracious. Okay, so the majority, so we have the majority and then we have the dissenting from Kavanaugh. So Kavanaugh writes the dissent, effectively concluding that tariffs at issue here may or may not be wise policy, but as a matter of text, history, and precedent, they are clearly lawful. I respectfully dissent. Alex, I'm going to need more information on this, please. Pack it out.
He's like, I was going to cover this, but I don't want to read anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, guys, gotta get more. I'm sorry, I can't read 170. Can't read 170 page Supreme Court ruling. But I'm trying to find the. Let's find the majority here.
Wait, what do you do? I mean, you can't read the ruling. Like 170 might take you more than like an afternoon or whatever to read it. But what does this motherfucker do all day that he didn't know that it was long and that he wouldn't just be able to be like, oh, here's the 3-sentence ruling, read it on his show? Like, what the fuck, man? What do these people do all day? Anyway, up next, this is really funny because we were watching Jane Ruby, Dr. Jane Ruby on Conspiracy Bingo on Friday night, and she was talking about bread and circuses. She didn't know what the fuck it meant. She just thought it meant like any fucking thing somebody said she didn't like. But here is Jesse Waters again, going to talk about how the billionaires should impose some kind of bread and circuses strategy to keep the poor from bringing the pitchforks. Now, in this case, I got to, for all of Jesse Waters' faults, he does in fact seem to know what is meant by bread and circuses.
For more social programs, despite the fraud.
I'm going to give the billionaires some advice.
Oh, wow.
Because the wealth gap's the widest it's been since the roaring 20s, which Greg remembers was a lot of fun. And what happens, you have a great time, and then the market tanks, and then the politicians punish successful people, like FDR. So you got to get out ahead of this. And you got to employ the bread and circuses strategy that they used to do in the ancient Roman times, when wealthy emperors used to just throw lavish banquets and festivals and make the gladiators fight. So you feed and entertain the public in order to show how generous you are and maintain the social order. So if you're a billionaire in California, before the peasants start storming the castle, how about this? How about you buy everybody there a $1 value meal at McDonald's? How about you do an
A $1 value meal at McDonald's.
Oprah? Free cars! How about you buy maybe everybody at Skid Row a one-way ticket to Thailand? That also gets them out of town. Or make the homeless people in Skid Row fight like gladiators.
Like bum fights?
Do something big and bold. Big and bold we're going for. Not necessarily that idea, but other ideas like that.
What did you read while you were away?
Or they could just pay more in taxes, and we could have a better society. Not for nothing, and I know this is a little off topic, but like whatever, it's my own show. Does anybody remember when the bum fights guy went on Dr. Phil's show dressed as Dr. Phil? And Dr. Phil was all like ready to like fucking go after the bum fights guy, and then the bum fights guy said, Dr. Phil, I do the same thing you do. I'm just honest about it. And it was amazing. It was one of the best moments in television. Anyway, I don't like any of Jesse Waters' ideas. I think we should feed Jesse Waters to sharks in a video game in which you feed news personalities to sharks. Up next, this is Bo Burgum. What's his name? Burgum? Somebody named Burgum. Anyway, CO2. It's good because it's plants breathe CO2. I'm not kidding. It's almost like Idiocracy. Almost.
We were always told that coal is the dirtiest fuel, that there's more CO2 emissions from coal than there is from nat gas. Is that not true? No longer true?
Well, that it's true, but it has more than nat gas. But then the question goes back to last week with the reversal on the endangerment finding, which is is CO2 a pollutant or is CO2 something that helps plants grow? We know for sure because plants absorb CO2 and exude oxygen.
But that's great. We're also cutting down the rainforest.
As part of the processes they use to grow. If you have a CO2 enhanced greenhouse, you can grow plants 20, 30, 40% faster.
Yeah, but what happens if you cut down the greenhouse? Jesus Christ. I fucking can't believe that shit. I think they've tried this before. Like, do people believe that? I mean, yes, you can make the plants grow faster if you pump CO2 into a place where the plants are. But does this guy like oxygen is what animals breathe. Does this guy think that you just put like a bunch more oxygen into the environment and it's just good for the animals? Because it ain't. Like, fires burn hotter, for example. Now, I don't know what this lady's talking about. This homegirl is just going to go on TV and try to tell everybody here. This is Caroline Levitt. She's going to go on TV and I swear to you, she is going to tell you that rents are going down. Check this out. You just go, I don't know, rent's going down. Yeah, sure. Just fucking say anything, lady.
The annual rental cost for a new rental unit has fallen nearly $100 so far under President Trump, after rising more than $3,000 under Joe Biden. And many are crediting that to the president's deportation efforts to remove illegal aliens from our communities and therefore from housing that should be used for American citizens.
So if annual rent went down $100, that means everybody's rent went down like $8 a month. I'll take an $8 reduction in my rent. When I got the little letter you get at the end of a year, like, I don't know, I didn't renew my lease or whatever, but the guy's like, we're going to raise your rent $10. So you give me that $100 a year rent decrease that we're talking about here. Now my rent went up $2. 96. 8 times 12 is 96. I'm the ultimate math nerd. $100 over the course of a year for your rent, it isn't shit. And I don't know if the average rent for like an apartment went up $3,000 a year under Biden, because that's $300 or two something a month, $240 a month, maybe, I don't know. I think this is all bullshit. But your rent's not going down, but if it is going down, I mean, I'll buy that it went down $8 a month. Okay, I'm okay. Fine, your rent went down $8 a month. I don't know. This is wild. Here's Fox News. This Abigail Spanberger lady, I don't think she's as cool as she's being described to be on Fox News, but here's hoping that she is. Here's hoping. Who knows?
So Abigail Spanberger inherited a $2 billion surplus from the former Republican governor. And the first thing that they're going to do is raise taxes, take people's guns, and rig the election.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
I mean, I think choosing Abigail is a tell in and of itself, because to your point, this is someone who is a progressive foot soldier, as AOC as Bernie Sanders, and yet she ran as a moderate and a centrist. And the reason she did that is because she understands, much like Democrats in choosing her, that their progressive politics are so politically toxic that nobody wants to buy that. So you have to cosplay as a moderate, and that's why they chose her, because she ran that playbook in November and won on it, and they need her to do that again on Tuesday.
So,
I think that's going to be I don't think she's taking anybody's guns. I don't know, man. If she takes the guns and fucking rigs the election, I don't know. I don't think you should do either of those things, I suppose. But sometimes I wish the Democrats were fucking as doing any of this stuff that they say they're doing. I think she ran as a progressive and is going to govern as a moderate Republican, because that's what people do, right? That's what people do. We'll see, though. We'll see. I don't know. I'm glad she beat the Republican. I don't know. He's like, oh, a foot soldier. A foot soldier? She's not a foot soldier. She's a governor. She's a bureaucrat. So they're trying really hard to push this SAVE Act, this voter ID Act that's going to be like unconstitutional. Like, it doesn't matter. It's going to be like struck down. Like, it doesn't matter. They can pass it or whatever. But they're trying to like, people are like, hey, wait a minute. What do you mean I have to vote with the name on my birth certificate? I got married and changed my name. They're like, well, all you need is your marriage license and a fucking signature from the fucking justice of the peace and fucking 3 references from your job or maybe the daycare center your kids are at. It's dumb. It's hella dumb. We don't have people trying to vote as someone else. The reason that we don't have people trying to vote as someone else is that is a dumb way to try to fucking scam an election. The dumb, inefficient, and like highly dangerous way to try to scam an election. But don't worry, the SAVE Act is going to fix that anyway. And here's Fox News trying to manufacture consent for this really stupid piece of legislation.
Let's not treat women. You worked with a lot of these women in Congress. They are brilliant. They're smart. Why do you suggest that they don't know how to prove their citizenship by bringing a passport or a birth certificate or a marriage certificate and
a marriage certificate? See, like I told you, why the fuck do you need your marriage certificate to go vote?
The new Social Security card that gets issued right after they get married. This is all nonsense. This is something
people don't actually carry their Social Security card, right? These are like notarized copies of a Social Security card. I don't even fucking have access to like a real notarized like that up there in a safe deposit box that my family. I suppose I have access to it. I just haven't inquired on how to do it. Like, no, people don't have this stuff. Like, why are you fucking do? Oh, I got my marriage license. My parents, dude, my parents are 80, almost 80 years old. How old are they? They're 114. You think my mom knows where the fuck her marriage license? You think my parents know where the fuck their marriage license is? I mean, my dad's one of those kind of document guys, but I think they got married in like 1970. So. I don't know, man. Yeah, people like this is dumb as fuck. The people don't have this stuff.
Common sense, almost all Americans agree with it. Its time has come. You must prove that you're a citizen when you register to vote.
They already do that. What does he think happens when you register to vote? That's California's system is they verify your eligibility to vote when you register.
Makes sense. You got plenty of time to get that done, and you got to show up with a photo ID to prove that you are the person that is indeed the citizen entitled to vote. It's an easy thing. It should be done tomorrow.
Okay, so real quick, everybody votes by mail. So how does this work? I keep asking on Twitter, and people they're like, it's not that hard. And I'm like, I vote by mail. There's nothing in this thing that gets rid of vote by mail. They can't. So what do they want me to do? Do I just go buy go get another California ID, driver's license, whatever, and just fucking send it in with a thumbprint or something? Like, do they keep it? And then do I got to get another ID? Like, what do you mean? Well, it's all dumb as fuck. This is why it's probably not going to pass the Senate. And it's not because the Republicans aren't for this or whatever. They are. It's just that this is stupid. The problem here is that this is dumb, and it doesn't make any sense, and you're not going to be able to enforce it, and it's going to get struck down because the states handle the elections. That's just how it is. The state handles the election. The federal government is not going to take over the elections. They're just not gonna. Up next, here's some voter ID stuff that's a little bit weird. I don't know who Mike Rounds is, but fucking more like yikes rounds. I got nothing on this. Watch this.
Out there wondering about if you take out your driver's license and if you got a little yellow star up on the right hand corner, it means you've already got your real ID in place. That's all you need to be able to go in and vote. That's all we're asking is let's see a photo ID to make sure you are who you say you are. Makes perfect common sense.
All right, let's see your little yellow star, people. let's see your little yellow star, everybody. I don't know how I feel about that. Seems like maybe not the best way to frame it. Maybe you could have found another, maybe like there's an indicator on the ID. There's some kind of insignia. Like I wouldn't call it a little yellow star, for whatever reason. So up next, this is pretty weird. The FCC chair on applying the equal time rule to late night talk shows. Okay, so first of all, I was unaware that the equal time rule still existed. I thought it didn't exist, but what it turns out is it does exist. It's like never enforced, and it doesn't like cable, for example, does not apply to cable because it's not using the airwaves or whatever. So it would only apply to like CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox insofar as they're using the airwaves to broadcast, but it's like never enforced. But I could swear to you that it was like never ever enforced on like Johnny Carson, right? Or David Letterman. Like they weren't no. This is about the news. It's about like the news and like it's about, first of all, it doesn't get enforced and you can't really do that because so many people are running for office. Anyway, here's this is really funny because the Chiron is like the latest Democratic hoax is that we're being censored, and then the fucking FCC chair straight up is going to defend essentially the fact that the an interview that Stephen Colbert did with James Talarico was not aired at the behest of the government.
And the equal time rule at its core is about stopping legacy media from picking winners and losers in elections. It's so that the American people can decide, and perhaps Colbert and other establishment Democrats want to put the thumb on the scale in this Democrat primary for one candidate over the other. I don't know. You'll have to ask them. But we're going to enforce the law and hold broadcasters accountable.
So,
yeah, the equal time, there was an old thing called the fairness doctrine. That's what got rid of. But like, I don't think it was ever intended. Like this was never intended to apply to late night comedy shows. I think this was intended for a time when like a lot of people got their news from the radio and like the nightly news. And if you remember, like your local news, they didn't really interview candidates, right? Like, or the national news, they didn't spend a lot of time interviewing candidates. I think it was just they didn't have enough time or whatever. But I don't think anybody ever intended for it to apply to fucking Stephen Colbert. I think they just don't like Stephen Colbert. And the other thing is the person running, like the people running against James Talarico, one of them is Jasmine Crockett. And I don't think Jasmine Crockett doesn't have Jasmine Crockett could go on Colbert to talk about her run for office. I don't see what the fucking problem is here. Might have been something that fucking I didn't see the interview, right? Maybe they talked about something that these people didn't like, something true that these people didn't like. I don't know, but what I do know is maybe now, this is so weird. These people hate Jasmine Crockett, so I don't even understand like what the point is here. I think they just hate Stephen Colbert because he's like powerful and influential. I guess they're like maybe this is maybe interviewing someone is election interference. I don't know.
Well, that's not very nice. Modern late night TV isn't comparable to the days of Johnny Carson, as you just saw right there. What used to be high quality entertainment before bed has turned into nothing more than a bunch of liberals bashing Republicans. That's all it is. To the point late night.
Oh yeah, famously Johnny Carson, Dave Letterman, they never made fun of politicians. Famously, never, ever at all, ever.
Now a full-blown propaganda arm for the Democrat Party. Head of the pack, you just CBS Stephen Colbert, whose show is set to end soon because he's not funny enough to make any money and is currently lashing out at his new bosses on his way out the door. Here's what happened. He's claiming his bosses at CBS refused to let him air his recent interview with Texas Democrat Senate candidate James Talarico because of censorship demands from the Trump FCC. In reality, the network simply informed Colbert if he had let Talarico on, he would have to give Talarico's opponents equal time on the show because of the FCC's equal time rule, which was enacted by Congress nearly 100 years ago. Now, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr says this is why the American people have more trust in gas station sushi than they do in Colbert.
I think yesterday was a perfect encapsulation of why the American people have more trust in gas station sushi than they do in the national news media.
So wait, but Steve, the late night talk shows aren't the national news media. I don't think the late night talk show is a news program.
This was very plainly an effort ginned up to get clicks into
effort agenda
news media. This was very plainly an effort ginned up.
An effort agenda.
Clicks in to raise money, and you guys ate it up like slop. What's so ironic about it is, had they gone down the path of complying with the equal time provisions here, it would have meant more airtime for more Democrats to say whatever those Democrats.
Yeah, but this is dumb because, like, okay, so let's take this at face value, right? Let's say, okay, this is a problem because his main opponent was not interviewed. You can't. What is he supposed to interview them both at the same time? You would think that something like this would come after an election where you're like, hey, it looks like CBS, for example, really put their thumb on the scale here, and we're going to investigate. This isn't like one interview with one politician. Like, politicians are going to go on the late night shows to try to raise money and to try to gain support. They always have, and they always will if they're invited. And it's like, if the late night shows, I think Stephen Colbert and his staff are generally fairly ethical people, at least in how they present their product to the world. I don't know anything about them personally or whatever. Strangely enough, no scandals around Stephen Colbert, but that's a different story. What if Jasmine Crockett was going to be on in March? I mean, the election isn't until fucking November, right? Oh, what about if Jasmine Crockett goes on in October? Now are they putting their thumb on the scale for Jasmine Crockett because she went on 6 months after Talrico did? Like, this is all dumb as fuck. Like, they don't care about this. There must be something in that interview that they don't like.
So again, this is part of the broader hoax that too many in the fake news media simply fell for, hook, line, and sinker.
And he's right. And because of this little stunt pulled by Colbert, James Talarico has since raised, get this, north of $2.5 million for his campaign. So maybe someone should investigate Colbert for election interference.
Wait, what? Why? For interviewing somebody? I swear to you, what, is there any world in which he's not going to interview Jasmine Crockett?
Primary opponent Jasmine Crockett, she's not happy about this. In fact, Colbert putting his thumb on the scale like this for a what?
Wait, did she say anything about this?
For a black woman kind of seems pretty racist. I don't know. That's just what it seems.
Wait, what? No. Wait, what the? I don't think Jasmine Crockett said anything about it. I think Jasmine Crockett, there's a bunch of people losing their minds on Twitter about this race, by the way. Like, just losing their fucking minds about this race. But why it would be a bad look for her to be like, well, why did Colbert have him on? Like, she's not a dummy. It would be a horrible look, right? All she does is she's like, she's if she's asked about it, she's like, I don't know. He can interview whoever he wants. She's like, maybe I'll be on there in a few weeks. Who knows? And you just go on with it because it's dumb. I swear to you, I do not think Jasmine Crockett is out there bitching about this. I could be wrong. People have surprised me in the past, and I'm not following like every fucking step of this. I just know people on Twitter are losing their minds about this. So, but yeah, Jasmine Crockett is probably welcome on Stephen Colbert's program, and I would expect. Wait, now he can't. Wait, now that he had to pull that in. Wait, now he can't fucking interview Jasmine Crockett and put it on the air because now he's putting like, what the fuck? This is dumb as shit. These people were all yelling about fucking the media censoring. Man, and people are just fucking telling on themselves for some shit they were about to do. Oh, the media is censoring everybody. Bitch, you censored an interview with a political candidate. And make no mistake, like, if this was about like politics and stuff, this is Barry Weiss's call. I wonder if fucking Stephen Colbert did something to Barry Weiss. And by did something to Barry Weiss, I mean like mildly criticized her at some point. Here we go. Here's more from Newsmax on this matter, which I don't know why this is a fucking whole news cycle. Apparently, the Federal Elections Commission should investigate Stephen Colbert for interviewing a candidate for Senate.
The FCC finally has a pair, and isn't that nice to see?
Yeah, this is an amazing story. Yeah, I love this story so much. So what you're forcing
Why do you love this story? This story is stupid.
the communist revolutionaries to do that run the zombie franchise of the Colbert late night show, by the way. It's a dead man walking, okay? And they're forcing Stephen Colbert effectively to run out his contract for a couple of months. And it's a couple of painful months. And it's painful for Stephen Colbert because what's happening right now is they're exposing him for who he truly is, which is not only a propagandist, but also somebody who's actively in a revolutionary.
Wait a minute, Newsmax, why are you airing parts of the interview? Isn't Newsmax aren't they doing election interference now just by even running like the video of the interview? Shouldn't the FEC and the FCC and everybody be in fucking send Barry Weiss to investigate Newsmax now?
Role to try and help elect Democrats.
Yes.
And if Jasmine Crockett isn't useful to the revolution, she's finding out right now that she will be thrown directly into the trash. And it doesn't.
Wait, why? Because she fucking didn't go on Stephen Colbert before her opponent did? I'm sorry. I mean, I'm fucking totally down with it. I understand that she's got an uphill battle being like a black woman, especially like because some people like think she's loud and bitchy or whatever. Like, I understand that there's an uphill battle there, but her opponent going on Colbert before she does is not part of that uphill battle.
Matter if Stephen Colbert wears here's an article right here, Rob, that says Stephen Colbert wears Black Lives Matter bracelet on the late night show, gives lecture about listening to black women. Isn't that amazing? But he's banning the only black woman running for Senate in Texas from.
He didn't ban her. Why? I'm sorry. Why? Did Stephen Colbert ban Jasmine Crockett from coming on his show? I'm fucking fairly certain that during this primary process for the Senate, I'm fairly certain that Colbert was like on the list of places she was going to go, probably. I would assume.
From his show. It's absolutely remarkable, and I just want to.
Why? Why? I don't understand. Banned for the show. Banned from the show. What on earth are these people talking about? I'm sorry. The right wing is dumber than usual this week. Somebody in the Discord was like, "Oh, it's going to be a hell of a week on the fucking Sunday show." And I kind of looked through the news and I was like, it's kind of a little bit of a slower news week, but just the amount of stupidity is like this one specifically. This is so stupid.
Really quickly and use just this wonderful moment on Newsmax to do so. I'm not calling for an FCC investigation. I think we're way beyond that. I'm calling for an FEC investigation. Federal Elections Commission should really look into how Stephen Colbert manipulated and hoaxed James Tallarico into the #1 fundraising position in Texas right now. Because it seems like this entire thing was a scheme that was launched by Stephen Colbert and his team in order to effort and push the guy that they think or believes could run and win.
Well, isn't that
and
just
they're sabotaging Jasmine Crockett in doing so. So Black Lives Matter clearly doesn't really matter to Stephen Colbert.
Well, and that's.
So wait a minute. This is the Streisand effect. These people are so stupid they don't even know. I don't think his I don't know if it would have just aired, he'd have probably done okay with fundraising. But because this happened, I bet a lot of people were like, well, then fuck you. I'm going to give this guy $20. That's probably what happened, right? It's just they got Streisand affected. Because I think the Stephen Colbert's people, they had every intention of running this interview, I'm sure. They just got Streisand affected. And I'm not 100% sure that that the right isn't afraid of this Tallarico guy. Because I think they think that because Jasmine Crockett's like a loud black lady, that they can just kind of portray her in a dog whistly racist ass way and get a bunch of racist ass fucking moderates. There are people call themselves moderates. I don't think racism is a moderate position to take, right? but get a bunch of people who might call themselves moderates, who might be inclined to vote for a Democrat, to like vote against the Democratic Party because they're like, look at this loud black bitch. And so I think that's what they want. And I don't know enough about these two people. I don't vote in Texas. I'm not inclined to endorse either of them or any of that stuff. But I feel like what's going on here is they want to run against her and not against him. Because let's face it, people are racist and sexist. And the Republicans, if they're good at one thing, it's running a racist and sexist fucking campaign against a woman, particularly a black woman.
That's the juiciest part of it, is just how quickly they'll just throw her aside because they don't think she can win in Texas. But it is just amazing.
Throw her aside. She is one of 2 Democratic candidates running for the Senate in Texas. She's not being thrown aside. She's probably not going to win because it's Texas and her opponent is a white man. Now, that's just Texas for you. Democrats or Republicans. The white man is probably going to beat the black woman for no reason other than their fucking identity, but these people hate identity politics.
Into the political process, this guy that supposedly just has a late night comedy show on a broadcast network that's federally regulated, it's so corrupted. And the FCC has been so absent for so long that Stephen Colbert is just a political operator working inside of CBS, and he's been doing this for 11 years. And now this mild repudiation that comes from CBS under new ownership, you just have to have Crockett on. They didn't demand that he had Ken Paxton on.
Wait, what?
Bring Crockett on.
Who demanded that? And what do you mean they just who demanded it? Because I'm sorry, there's somebody's lying here, right? They demanded. Do they mean at the same time? What do you mean they demanded? I'm not sure that's what's happening here. So somebody in the chat asked about, Newsmax and are they politically neutral? Well, the thing is, Newsmax isn't broadcast, so none of this fucking fake shit that they're talking about here could even theoretically be applied to Newsmax. But I think this stinks like Barry Weiss to me. This smells hella bad like Barry Weiss to me. I don't actually know what Barry Weiss smells like, but this smells like Barry Weiss. Did you know that Stephen Colbert, since we're talking about Colbert, I guess he's afraid to have Donald Trump on the show because Donald Trump would just seem so lovable if he went on Colbert's show. Donald Trump would never go on Stephen Colbert's show.
Was being really cute. He said, the president's a toddler who gets too much screen time. If I wanted to watch a toddler who gets too much screen time, I would turn on Stephen Colbert's show.
Oh, you get him, Becky. You get him.
Americans, I don't. And the reality, I think, here is that Stephen Colbert, he's afraid to have the president on his show, and he should be. He has a very unhealthy obsession with President Trump. He mentions him in almost every monologue multiple times a week. And
late night comedy show mentions the president. This is amazing. These people are so stupid.
Conditioned his audience to believe that President Trump is this bad, scary, authoritarian figure. And he knows that if he has President Trump on his show, his audience is going to see the same affable, likable, funny guy that millions of Americans, even Zohran Mamdani, saw in the Oval Office that day, who President Trump really is. So I personally hope the president makes this interesting. I would love for the president to offer for himself to go on Stephen's show, offer himself as a guest. He hasn't been back on since 2015. And I guess based on Colbert's response, we'll find out who's silencing who, Sean.
Wait, what? But you just made up a scenario. Donald Trump hasn't offered to go on the Colbert show. Like, you just made up a whole ass fucking fanfic about Stephen Colbert and Donald Trump. I don't know why you didn't ship them in the process. Maybe they could have got a bed and breakfast. Could have gone to a bed and breakfast after the interview, actually. Could have held hands. Maybe gone for a walk on a beach, or maybe like somewhere near a river, it could have been cute. It could have been like a meet cute, or as we say, meet cube. We're going to move on. I guess here's RFK Jr. lying about our health as usual. I have some thoughts about about this kind of specifically, and then like more broadly, like conversations around what people are calling ultra processed foods.
When my uncle was president, I was a 10-year-old kid. We spent zero on chronic disease in this country, zero. Today we spend 4.3 trillion a year.
Wait, what? Who spends zero on chronic? What do you mean? You just execute people when they got sick? He's lying.
And it's about 40 cents out of every tax dollar that is paid by you to the federal government is now going to treat chronic disease.
I don't know about this. How do they got all that money for the military? 40 cents on every dollar? Ooh, is he just talking about like because out of your tax burden, like Social Security and Medicare are kind of a high percentage, maybe not a majority, but possibly plurality? He's not. Fuck that. He's just lying. He's just fucking straight up lying, actually.
And it's unsustainable, and it's getting worse every year. So,
is it?
Oh, this fucking brain donor is fucking interviewing him. Great, but we're gonna get pushed back. Like, how did you get so smart? Are you sure that you're that smart? I don't know. I don't think it was possible to be that smart, but I'll have to fucking think about it.
That it falls more on it's the responsibility of the individual. We're not taking care of ourselves, or is it that we have a health system that is allowing I don't want to just say foods and drugs, but allowing things into us that is not maintaining our natural health.
Allowing things into us that is not maintained. This guy is so stupid. This guy, everybody like, oh, he's so relatable. Shut the fuck. I hate this guy. This guy's like fucking, this guy annoys me way more than Joe Rogan.
Individuals have a responsibility, but the obesity, when I was a kid, 5% of children were obese.
Yeah, you had one kind of fat kid in your class.
Yeah, and today it's 15%. It's going. Overweight is 40%. Adults, it's even higher.
Over what weight?
Thick military, then, I think.
I'm like this. People get mad at this. They think, it's cringy and stuff. I kind of like the sort of healthy at any weight idea because I'm probably, you take my height and whatever, my BMI, I'm probably technically overweight, but I ride my bike all over the place. Like, like going up a hill, passing like somebody who's like 25, like riding my bike up the same hill. Like this is dumb. This is dumb because they don't really care whether or not people are healthy. They want people to be hot, essentially. They want people to be like the Ubermensch.
Americans did not get obese because they're indolent or lazy or they don't want to do exercise. They got that way because they're being mass poisoned. And they're being mass poisoned because the government lied to them and it lied about the food. Now 70% of the food that our kids eat is ultra processed food. And
I want someone to define ultra processed just once.
It's just poison. It's not food. It's just poison.
And which agencies allowed that? I mean, the EPA puts labels on the FDA.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's been one of the most compromised agencies?
Yeah, it was owned by Big Pharma and Big Food. And Marty McCary has changed that now.
So how do we know that that's changed? Like, how do we as like a...
Look at the food pyramid.
No. Oh, no, look, there's a bottle of olive oil. Like, this bottle of olive oil like you'd see at a restaurant on there. Oh, God. So the last that we hadn't used that old food pyramid in a long time. Remember, everybody, there was like a plate, right? And it made more sense than the pyramid because it was just like, I don't know, there's some vegetables, some protein, maybe some legumes, some beans, and then there's like a salad or like a piece of bread. It just had the plate. It was like, here, this is what should be on your plate, kind of. Like, it was like a pie chart, but a plate. And I gotta, like, the term ultra processed, I've looked it up, and what they mean is junk food. They don't mean that the food has been processed more than any other particular type of food. They mean junk food. Right? Like, there is, like, why is Doritos an ultra processed food, but a loaf of bread not? I'm a trad wife now. I make my own bread. But it would be a pain in the ass to mill my own flour because that's a pretty intensive process, right? So with the bread, you have to mill the flour. That's a process. like water, I guess you don't have to do anything with that. Like there's salt, the salt goes through a process. There's fucking yeast. Then you put the yeast in the bread and then it goes through a process. You put the yeast in your dough and it goes through a process of raising the dough, and then you cook it again, which is another process. And what you come out with is like a whole grain loaf of bread, but that is a very processed fucking food that I'm making in my house. But that's not ultra processed, and a Dorito is. So I don't like the terminology. I feel like fucking junk food. I feel like just calling it fucking junk food is so much more useful. I know, like, it doesn't sound all sciencey and shit, but you know what the fuck junk food is, right? Like a loaf of bread is not junk food, and a bag of Doritos is. It's just because that's like it's just so much better for everybody to talk about it that way. It's like, otherwise, if you're like, I don't want to eat anything processed, well, I'm like, I don't know, taking a fucking apple off the tree is technically a process. So then you just fucking bob for apples on the tree. Like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You think when you go buy a steak at the store or even at a butcher that hasn't been through a pretty dramatic and significant process for you to get it? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, speaking of RFK Jr., you knew this was going to be on the docket. I'm sorry that you were right. This happened this week. This is put out by the government. Workout, dude. Oh my God. My name is Wait, was there Jack Daniels on the plate? Because I think Jack Daniels is a processed food. Tell me somebody has replaced the music with "Let's Get Physical" on this. Tell me someone has done that. It's like they fucking. Why are they in a sauna? And why isn't the sauna like? What is happening here?
This is for the questions that don't have any answers. The midnight glances and the topless dancers. The gander freaks, cars packed with speakers. The G's with the 40s and the chicks with beepers. The North
Chicks with beepers? How old is this song? And why did he do a cold plunge in his jeans?
Where's Ken? All the crackheads, the critics, the cynics, and all my heroes at the methadone clinics. All you bastards at the IRS for the crooked cops and the club.
Oh, they're playing pickleball now. Man, they were like, how do we become more insufferable? Like, I know, let's play pickleball.
Half pints of love and the fists of stress for the hookers all tricking out in Hollywood and for my hoods of the world.
This is Bill Maher's fucking whole milk. Okay, not raw milk.
Get in the pit and try to love someone.
I don't know, man. I know you're not supposed to drink alcohol in the hot tub because that's real bad for you, but I don't know about whole milk in the hot tub either. All right, now we're getting close to the end of the regular show docket here. I think we got like 8 or 10 more fucking we got a lot more. So anyway, this one's weird. This is 15 seconds. I usually try not to pull 15-second clips because the context is missing, but the context here doesn't really matter. This is funny. This is really funny. This is like how can be bisexual when no sex? Also, like they brought this young person on to explain why young people aren't getting laid. And again, we don't like to talk about how people look on this show. But this young person, I don't know, he's probably like 23 or 24, but by 30, he's going to look 65. So young people, I don't know. I don't understand young people. The youth, just how can I reach these kids?
And I know you pointed this out as well, though. Did you know this, Link? We've talked about it. Sex among young people is on the decline. Young people are not having sex, and yet they're calling themselves bisexual. I really have a hard time adding those things together.
Well, so maybe you like both men and women, but the only option that you have is this guy. And you're like, oh, I guess I'm going to keep this V card for a little longer. This is not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Like, yeah, more young people are like more open-minded about sex, and I guess like hookup culture, like they probably saw like my generation and like the like elder millennials, like, and they kind of thought like our hookup culture, they maybe thought it was cringe, and maybe they'd rather have more meaningful interactions. Also, I don't know who these young people are or where they're finding them, because it ain't the gays. It ain't the gays. I'm just telling you, the young gays, still horny. Still extremely horny. They're all over Grindr. They're reaching up to, they're so horny they're fucking hitting me up, and I'm almost 50, right? Like these people are, in fact, the young people are fucking. This is just incorrect. Like, I guess Joe Rogan does not like Zoran Mamdani, but maybe next week he'll like him, because Joe Rogan just flails and flip-flops and goes back and forth on stuff all the time. I don't think he like truly believes anything. He just like likes money.
He's a fucking psychopath. Like, the amount for migrants is crazy. There should be $0 for illegal immigrants.
But
zero.
I don't think you can have zero, because if they're going to be there, they're going to be. You have to feed them.
Hold on. What the fuck?
You have to do something with them. Like literally, if you don't feed them, they're going to be robbing stores. They have to. Human beings need food. What are you going to do?
Get them jobs.
How are you going to get a migrant a job?
Get them a job in Guatemala.
Wouldn't you rather give them food than a job? I don't want them taking American citizens' jobs.
Well, the whole thing's a mess.
The whole thing's a mess. But the point is, you can't.
No, the whole thing's fine.
Right.
That's the
Unless
problem.
you're going to remove them from the country.
Right. Unless you remove them, even if you want to put them in jail, that's not cheap.
Right. That costs a lot of money.
Right. So, what are you going to do?
I don't know what the fuck's up with the guy's makeup. I don't. This whole thing. Here's like, I don't know. I live in a place where I think there's a lot of immigrants, and it doesn't ever occur to me to worry about whether or not they're here legally or anything like that. And I think it's fine, actually. I think everything's fine. I think the people that are here are here. And wasn't it just like last week that we were watching a clip of Joe Rogan being like, well, I don't know, maybe there should be a path to citizenship. Well, he's fucking contradicting himself now. He's like, don't spend any money on them. It's like, well, I don't know, the bureaucracy for a path to citizenship. We just watched a clip of him saying last week, that bureaucracy ain't free. You got to pay the people involved in that too. I don't know, man. This guy, he's an idiot. I don't know how he got so popular. Is he just like pretending to be like every man? Because he's not every man. The dude is rich. And anyway. Did you know that it is treasonous, I tell you, to put a pride flag up at the Stonewall Memorial? Not just in poor taste or just a little too gay at the Stonewall Memorial, but treasonous. Shout out to Right Wing Watch.
The pride flag is evil.
Whoa! All right, Alex. Again?
The pride flag is evil. I'm going to say this. The rainbow pride flag connotes so many things that are wrong, that are immoral.
Like disco, a bed and breakfast, a wedding planner.
And Chuck Schumer's wanting to grant this the same, equal legal status to the U.S. flag is treason.
So I don't think that. What do you mean equal legal status is the American flag? The flag has no legal status, right? The American flag doesn't. What do you mean equal legal status? The flag. It's just the flag of the country. I don't think it has any special legal status, right? You can burn a flag, for example.
Subject we could roll out is why the Democrat Party in recent years has become treasonous, and they are betraying the United States of America. The U.S. flag represents so much that is good and godly, and I've often said that there are many scars and stripes that purchase the stars and stripes. But I've got to tell you, and I'm not saying this just as a Christian. I am a Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. But Christianity aside for just a moment, every American citizen that has served our country, or family members have served many families over the years throughout the wars. Family members have died. If you have one thimbleful of patriotism and appreciation for the USA in your soul.
How much does a thimbleful of patriotism cost?
Your friends, then you should purpose in your mind right this minute that till your dying day you would never vote Democrat again, because the idea to put the rainbow pride, immoral, heinously, unspeakably vile, globalist.
Globalist. Does anybody remember Globo Homo? It was like fucking 15 years ago on Twitter. Does anybody remember Globo Homo? They should bring that back. That was funny.
Pride flag, to put that on the same plane as the U.S. flag, that is treason. And if you have one shred of appreciation for this country, you should say, that's it. It's game over. Never again.
Game over? Game? Like a gay game? Or
I vote for anything with a letter D beside of it.
That guy's lying to you. He's totally into the D. Jesus Christ, these people are crazy. Oh, friends, we're like well onto the crazy town part of the show. This is prophetess, MAGA prophetess or prophet Julie Green has a message from God, about the midterms. God must have left her a long message, because this video is 7 minutes long.
And I will get to this prophetic word. Now, this one I heard on the 5th of February, and it's called Shocking Announcements Will Be Made Before the 2026 Midterms. Shocking announcements will be made before the 2026 midterms. For I, the Lord, this day am telling you, my children, tensions are rising in nations all over the world. As the days draw closer to your midterms, O my United States, multiple attacks your enemies will try to hit you with. Attacks that will bring fear, attacks that will bring confusion, attacks that will bring unrest in your streets, and attacks that will bring distractions from the truth. My children, your enemies are growing more desperate by the day to rid the nation of President Trump and what he's doing daily to destroy the establishment and the global reset. Damage control is growing more impossible for the deep state as more fraud is uncovered and money is being stopped in all directions. The finances that
this is wild. So she's like, these are like almost like formatted like Q drops, but she's not getting them from Q. She says she's getting them like from God, like directly from God. This is insane. This is like the kind of Christian batshittery that we used to make fun of a lot. And it's just really weird that it's now like, this is like one of Trump's people, like the president's person. Like George W. Bush was an evangelical, but he would have been like, ooh, that lady crazy. Right? Like,
seamlessly flow into their businesses and their bank accounts is now under attack. And that flow has beginning to become a trickle. Your enemies are doing everything to stop that fraud from being exposed, but day after day, they are wondering how, no matter what they do to stop it, more just flows out. The establishment is collapsing. No one trusts the person next to them. As you know,
I don't know. I live in the town. I trust my neighbors. I don't know about you.
A house divided against itself cannot stand. The old guard is being let go now, and the old guard is turning on the one.
Oh, people are noticing the stuff behind her. My least favorite is this fucking globe, right? The fucking, like a globe that is anything other than just like a suppose, not, it's not going to be accurate, but it's like, blue ocean, fucking green and brown land. A globe that's any other colors besides those are like always a red flag. Like it's always a reason for you to be like, oh, the person presenting this video is out of their fucking mind.
Go. The establishment is not keeping the old guard anymore because they're aging out or they have failed their assignments. The globalists have had enough with the ones you see in DC right now. They are letting well-named people fall for the ones they are really trying to hide behind the scenes.
That's about enough of this, actually. So this is what prophetess Julie Green, one of Trump's favorite religious people, probably because she looks like Ivanka. That's what she's saying. She's saying, and again, that globe that's anything other than like trying to at least loosely portray the color of the earth is always a red flag. Always a red flag. Anyway, I don't know if you know this. Glenn Beck has also been talking to God lately. I don't know why. I guess. Well, God's been talking to Glenn Beck, right? Like talking to God is prayer, but when God fucking replies, I think that's usually called hearing voices in your head, I think.
I at times have felt impressions from God, and about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Oh, I forgot all about PragerU.
It was overwhelming. I know why I was born. This is why you are here. This is why you were born. And it is to stand at these times and to stand for the truth and to stand, not to sound grandiose, but to stand as other people in history have stood.
Oh no. Dude, just compare yourself to Goebbels.
Especially for the Jewish people.
Oh no. Oh, you went, oh no. Oh, get the fuck out of here. This is one of those, this guy's one of those end times people who thinks that the end of the world is going to happen in Israel, and that like most of the Jews are actually not going to get raptured up into heaven and shit. They're mostly all, he believes of some version of that. And I would suggest to you that that's anti-Semitic, no matter how much you claim you love Israel.
It is humbling, a little bit terrifying, but a relief to finally know
that I was chosen by God to be like the Jewish people or to protect the Jewish people. Get the fuck out of here. Get the entire fuck out of here. You ask the average Jewish American if they like Glenn Beck. They're either going to be like, who, or fuck no. Up next, this is from One American News Network. This is from their actual thing here. And this is, I don't know who these people are. Founder of Pastors for Trump, Jackson Lahmer, Lahmeyer. We're going to call him Jackson Lahmer. I know that's probably not how you pronounce his last name, but whatever. They're going to talk about how Christian nationalism is good, actually, and that you should be a Christian nationalist. So it's going to be fun.
Have they ever studied the original 13 colonies and how people had to pledge allegiance on a Bible, and that in our first schools back in the day, the little Aiken Bible was like part of the curriculum? And they think that our country's not based on those values? That's how we started the country. What's wrong with these people?
Ignore the First Amendment.
I think to your point, they're either really, really dumb or intentionally dishonest. And Dan, unfortunately, I think it's a little bit of,
or literate and have read the First Amendment.
Both. To your point, all 13 colonies, you go read their original charters. These are the documents stating, why they.
Wait, now we're going back. Okay, so the original charters for now this is not even the law of the land anywhere, right? Now we're going back. All right, well, none of this, bullshit. Shut up. Nuh-uh.
Virginia. Yep. You know what every single charter says of the 13 colonies? This colony, Virginia, Delaware, whatever, was formed to advance the kingdom of God and to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Every single.
I bet they don't. And what do you mean founding doc? I don't even know what he's talking about here. The charter?
Founding.
Look at the host. The host is like, oh shit, mic drop. Except this dude probably made this up.
Thank you. Interview over.
Wasn't there like a fucking colony that was like had a lot of Puritans or fucking some kind of like Quakers or Shakers or some shit where they weren't actually even allowed to like do Christmas and shit? like where they weren't really like religious. Like the people might have been religious, but they weren't like into any of this stuff.
Between the lines. No, just kidding.
I don't know how you're
making this up, dude. There's no way.
You know, I don't know how you get there. So yeah, dumb and dishonest is a deadly combination, and that is CNN. And you know, they use that term, Christian nationalist. I remember back in, I think it was 2021. This was when the term was really starting to come about.
Right.
The New York Times had labeled me as one of the leading Christian nationalist voices in the country, and people were concerned. Aren't you afraid that they're labeling? I said, the two words are who I am.
Yeah, what's wrong with it, Pastor? That's what I'm like. Wait a minute. You're a nationalist, so you love your nation and you push our nation first. Great. Back up to the first word, Christian.
It's really not what we think about nationalism.
Why has that become?
So, like back in the day when they're like, you know, they're like, this is our country and all that shit. Like they literally meant like the countryside. Like in a lot of cases when they talk about that stuff in like the old timey times, they didn't really talk about. They would use the word nation maybe when they meant like. This is all dumb.
In the left's mind, they have brain rot. These liberals
have brain rot. Oh. Somebody call Rhizome.
Tear this.
Get them on the libs. They got brain rot.
Rebuild it in some ridiculous socialist, Marxist, non-believing in God country that not on my watch.
A socialist, Marxist, non-believing in God country, not on my watch, girlfriend.
No way.
Well, let me tell you what it really is, Stan, and you know this. The reason they don't like the term Christian nationalist is because one, they hate God.
Yep.
And they hate America.
So I don't believe in God and I don't care that much about America.
And so if you're a follower of God, you're a Christian, follower of Jesus Christ. And if you're a nationalist, that means you love this country. You're not a globalist. And so those two words to me.
I am a globalist, probably, according to these people.
Take it as a compliment. Oh, yeah, they have rightly described. I am a Christian first, and I am a nationalist politically. I'm not a globalist. No questions about that.
Can we get name tags, Pastor?
Name tags. This is the international. This is signed for name tags. Can we get name tags? Shut up. These people are fucking stupid. Man, I'm glad these people are dumb too, because if these people were a little bit smarter, we'd really be fucked. So this is the next. I guess we're gonna have to keep an eye on this guy. His name is Dale Partridge. Not like a partridge in a pear tree. Not like the Partridge Family. Here, check this out. This is weird.
Why has immigration become such a forefront issue for Americans? First, even though it's a national issue, it threatens our local work. How can a person confidently build locally if they may lose it all nationally? That is, how can Americans comfortably launch a business or plant a church or start a Christian school or invest in their community if they may lose it all to third world pagans in the next decade? Understand. Nobody is comfortable building a house on an eroding cliff. So all would like.
No, but you could just sell the house to Aquaman. We learned that.
Ignore the national media and discussion. We cannot, because the looming possibility of national collapse and the loss of our historic identity hangs over everything we try to build. Right now, Islam is the second largest religion in 22 states. In 1990, there were fewer than 500,000 Muslims. Today in America, there are roughly 5 to 6 million, with over 3,000 mosques and over 300 Islamic schools.
Okay, that's fine with me.
A similar trajectory. Hindus now.
Oh no, the Hindu. Oh no. I didn't know. Oh, this is great. Remember all them fucking Satanic Panic videos where they were mad at the New Age? This guy probably loves that Pagan Invasion series. Oh no, he's like the fucking yoga.
In the United States, including the second largest Hindu temple in the world in New Jersey and one of the tallest in Texas. Their birth rates are significantly higher than historic Americans. And both Muslims and Hindus are now highly organized and increasingly active in American politics. You might be thinking,
you mean that some of them ran for office and won? Oh my God, you would never believe that. Some people who have a different religion than me ran for office and won. The whole Senate. I don't even think there's any fucking non-religious people in the Senate or whatever. I think the whole Senate is people with a different religion than me. I don't think those people all necessarily believe in God or whatever.
It doesn't matter because they're such a small minority. But we cannot forget that a population of only 3% identifying as LGBTQ was able to reshape the entire country with its agenda. You don't need huge numbers.
Wait, there was we watched a clip where it's like, well, now it's like 10%. And like the estimates were like 1 in 10 people is some kind of queer or whatever. 3%. Get out of here. It makes you look like makes you and your people look like you suck.
to transform a nation, especially when a group is organized, motivated, and politically active. The threat is not 10 years out, it's already at our doorstep. The solution is simple. America is the safest in the hands of our own people. Americans, especially Christian Americans, we must rise up and recover our home. Why is immigration?
No, I hate that guy. Oh, we're going to have to keep an eye on that guy. That guy is a piece of shit. There's a big Charlie Kirk-shaped hole in the right-wing media space right now, and I think there's going to be a few people trying to fill out that space. Who's probably not the one that's probably not going to be able to do it? By the way, the last guy we watched probably not either. I don't think this guy here either. I don't think Matt Walsh is going to be able to do it either. But here's Matt Walsh. An expert on violence and society, apparently.
What do we think about the cost-benefit analysis there? Look, I've been making this point for a long time. As a society, we have two choices. Okay, only two.
You should always be very skeptical of anybody who just straight up tells you they're going to present a dichotomy for issues that are complicated, like, I don't know, society.
Either we are going to inflict severe, merciless suffering on the criminals, the violent degenerates, the sociopathic predators, the dysfunctional, the barbaric, or we're going to allow severe, merciless suffering to be inflicted on the innocent. The women sitting on the train after work, the pedestrians walking their dogs in the park, the Uber drivers, the gas station clerks, and so on. One group or the other is going to be made to feel immense suffering. One group or the other is going to be met with brutality and violence. There's no third option, at least not for us. Now, other countries may be able to find a middle path. Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. It's also completely homogenous. 98% of Japanese citizens are ethnically Japanese.
How's that working out for them, by the way? They have like an aging population.
They are a small, homogenous country where everybody shares the same culture, same values, same priorities, the same fear of public shame and embarrassment. And yet, even in Japan, the death penalty is mandated in their penal code. They don't use it often, but when they do use it, the accused finds out their execution date on the day of the execution. And then they're taken off to be hanged without any further appeal.
Well, that seems bad.
So Japan's secret sauce is homogeneity, with severe and lethal punishment dispensed on the rare occasion when it's necessary.
I thought Japan's secret sauce was like some kind of thing that you're not sure what it is, but it tastes really good on your salmon skin roe.
That is not our situation. We are a very big country. We are, as we're always reminded, very diverse. So we are left with the two options I just outlined. Severe, brutal, ugly punishment of the guilty, or severe, brutal, ugly punishment of the innocent. Either the former or the latter. To choose neither, to refuse to choose, is to choose the latter.
So actually, like, I hate to be the point of the justice system, ostensibly, it's not like we have some fucking fabulous system of justice here in the United States, but ostensibly the point of the justice system is so that we don't have to do either of those things. Where, like, it's unconstitutional, for example. The cruel and unusual punishment is unconstitutional. So the idea here is that you rehabilitate or sometimes punish people when they do bad things, and then you hope that they can reintegrate in society. And that's sort of the middle way that he thinks doesn't exist. I don't think it's a great system or whatever, but it's all right. Up next, here's Matt Walsh again. We're almost to red light, I promise. Here is Matt Walsh talking about middle class black people and the fact that they don't exist.
The outcomes have been fantastic, just fantastic. 240 million gallons of sewage. Fantastic outcome. Fantastic.
Well, wait, where? What? That's sewage. Where? What do you mean? Is that the outcome of everybody having a toilet?
That's fantastic. I would hate to see what outcome this guy would consider to be subpar. If 240 million gallons of sewage is a fantastic, great outcome, then what?
Well, outcome from what? From plumbing? Well, I guess.
Even he call, suboptimal. Well, anyway, there you have it. When you're hiring personnel at DC Water, it's vitally important to have a lot of people who aren't white. The executives need to look like the employees, because when you're drinking water out of the tap or taking a shower, the thing you care about is whether the people who ensured the cleanliness and safety of your water look like you or not. And if you get E. coli or some other exotic disease or parasite in your intestines from the water, well, you could take solace in the fact that while you're puking your guts out, at least there was a sufficient level of diversity over in the water management department. David Gaddis never explains why this is so important, but he doesn't really have to. At this point, it's common knowledge that in many cases, government employment functions like a jobs program for people who are not white. This is one of those things that sounds offensive to some people, I guess, but it's clearly true, and even Democrats will admit it. If you've ever had the misfortune of walking into a DMV office, which any adult has, you may have noticed that they typically aren't very diverse, or they're diverse only in the leftist sense of not being diverse at all.
What?
Mostly black women, some black men.
What the fuck? Dude, also, I don't know, the last couple times I had to go to the California DMV, it was actually, I just make an appointment, you go in, you're there, you may be there for a half an hour or something. Like, it was actually a great experience. Like, I was like, wow, I thought I was going to be here all fucking day. And to be, I don't know, but maybe if it wasn't a black lady that like fucking was the receptionist or whatever, when I said, oh, I have an appointment, she's like, oh, great. Wait, sweetie, here's your number. If it would have been a white lady, maybe I'd have been out there in 28 and a half minutes. I don't know.
Not a lot of white people over the DMV. Neither are transit jobs or most administrative jobs in the government. And that's no accident. By and large, non-white people get these jobs and then they hire other non-white people. And once they get the jobs, they're basically impossible to fire. This has led to the creation of this.
What is the guy mad at the fucking bus driver now? I got to tell you, man, you get a lot away with a lot of fucking shit in Oakland, but you get on a full bus and you start saying any of this to that bus driver and you are going to be having a bad day. Fuck off.
Called black middle class, which is almost entirely a tax-funded function of the government.
You mean like a black person drives a bus for a living? I don't know. I ride the bus in Oakland a lot, and I don't seem to. It never occurs to me to even think about like, oh, what race is this? A man or a woman driving? I don't give a fuck. You walk on, you say hi, and you fucking thank the bus driver as you get off the bus. You're like, thanks for the ride. That's all you do. It doesn't fucking matter. That's how the bus works. This motherfucker has never taken the bus. This guy fucking never taken the bus. Somebody in chat that never had to interview for a job, right? Oh, I don't know. People do these jobs like bus driving. Well, fool, what do? You're a podcaster. Like, I don't think I'm better than a bus driver, right? I'm a fucking podcaster. Bus driver is clearly a more productive member of the society than me or Matt Walsh or any other fucking podcaster, right? They take people to places. They take people to other jobs. What the fuck, man? Anyway, up next, this is there's a new Turning Point USA spokesperson. I don't fucking care what his name is, but it seems like this guy's probably not going to fill the Charlie Kirk shoes.
All right, so here is where it gets interesting. DC Water's manager, David Gaddis, had a whole theory of the case. What was wrong with the people running this system before? I'll give you a couple guesses. 422.
When I arrived at DC Water, this was an organization that looked very similar to our industry. It was predominantly, white male at the top. But this was a utility that's, more than 70% people of color work at this utility. The people at the top, the executives, the chiefs in that C-suite, they should look like the employees that they serve and that they work with. And the same thing with the community. And so my executive team, looks exactly like the community. It looks like the employees, the staff, be it people of color, women.
Well, now they have a river filled with poop.
Yeah, so how did that work out? Yeah, so, okay, it used to be a bunch of white men running it, and they're the ones who built the pipe. They probably built it faster than they'll ever repair it here.
It says a man who's never laid any pipe.
For now, it worked for 60 years.
Wait, what the
fact that this was
wait, what a fucking friend, you have to you have to replace these things. I don't know. My car's just been running for 20 years, and now all of a sudden it doesn't. All of a sudden, I'm fucking must be my black neighbor's fault.
4 weeks is another just damning detail.
Yeah, it just seems to have started as a small story, and then just it keeps going, and people are like, wait, that's still going? There's still poo going in the river?
You're telling me that the river that flows by the Kennedy Center and the Jefferson Memorial and the Lincoln Memorial right through our nation's capital?
That's the Trump Kennedy Center, sir.
Is filled with poop.
Now, admittedly, I feel obliged to point out that the Potomac actually has been polluted a long time. So I know.
Wait, what? Oh, you don't say.
See, you were not supposed to swim in the Potomac. And
yeah, no shit. That's why it was. I don't even remember when that fucking convoy Santa was baptizing people in the Potomac River. I was like, ooh, those people gonna get sick.
Yeah, decade-long cleanup process. And I think maybe a couple years ago, they finally said you could swim in it, and now it's just right back into.
I don't think anybody. No, I don't think people. I don't think you know. I think you're wrong. I don't think you're supposed to swim in the fucking Potomac.
Have E. coli levels at 10,000 times.
Well, now you definitely can't. But even before, you were always told not to swim in it.
Here is a general observation. Because white men get a lot of crap. We're
the only group it's like acceptable
to attack us. But
well, I don't know. Nobody hates me because I'm white. Like when these people are like, "Oh, it's okay to be white," I'm like, "Yeah, for me, but not for you. You suck at being white."
Genocidal fantasies about them.
Let's set the record straight, though. White men created Western civilization.
Oh no! Oh Jesus!
Settled this continent. They built the most successful, functional, prosperous, and advanced societies on planet Earth. And if you are going to go into the C-suite of a utility that runs your sewage for millions of people, and you remove us arbitrarily, whether that be culturally or in this case bureaucratically,
like by hiring black people,
don't be surprised when your city regresses to the historical mean. Most places on planet Earth have rivers filled with poop.
I mean, that's fucked up. I don't know what happened, man. If there's like a bunch of like pipes from what, the 60s, if the sewage system was built in the 60s and like something burst, something broke, and it's still, these are difficult things to fix, right? This is not easy infrastructure to fix if it fails. Because you don't just have like a like you can't just be like, all right, everybody stop taking a shit. We need to fix the fucking shit pipe, right? Like you can't do this. I don't even want to fucking think about because there's people out there fixing this right now, whatever's wrong. And it ain't these guys, right? These guys should go fucking apply for that. It ain't these guys. There's people working out there. I don't know what happened, but there's people working pretty hard in probably pretty difficult conditions trying to fix whatever the fucking problem is. This guy's like, oh, it's because there's a black guy in charge of the fucking thing. It's like, no, because fucking it's an American problem. We don't invest in infrastructure. We just don't. Some of the stuff probably when it was installed, they're like, oh, this will last between 30 and 50 years. You know, I don't know what the exact thing is, but they didn't replace it. So some shit broke, and then some shit broke out. We got one more. This one's actually pretty good. There's a Newsmax guest. His name is Cam Edwards, and he is not fucking having any of this. Is a Higbee guy, Carl Higbee. This guest of his, Cam Edwards, is not having any of Carl Higbee's bullshit about trans people and firearms. Check this out.
I mean, not to like belittle the situation, but the last time the U.S. government put in a suicide hotline, they did it for the VA, and 33%, a third of the calls went completely unanswered.
Yeah, and again, Carl, Rhode Island already has, as you say, some of the most restrictive gun laws in the country, right? They've got a ban on large capacity magazines. They just passed a ban on so-called assault weapons. They've got a red flag law. They've got waiting periods. Maybe the governor will call for more gun control in the future. But I got to go back to something that you and AAWR were talking about here, because I want to make it clear that I don't think that people should be denied their Second Amendment rights just because they're transgender.
I do. I do.
Well, then you and I disagree, because once we go down that road, we're saying that, anybody that we believe is mentally ill, regardless of whether or not they've been adjudicated as mentally defective, and that would include you, Carl. A lot of folks on the left would say you don't deserve your Second Amendment rights because they think you're crazy. I think that is a dangerous road to go down.
You're right, it's a dangerous road, but when you have this capacity, AWR, I got 30 seconds for you here, you have to look at it as a mental illness, and that is something that is really need to be looked at.
Right, and I would notice that governor's carrying water for the trans community. He didn't criticize, he didn't point out that this individual is trans, as so many people have avoided. But transgenderism, to me, is a form of mental illness. So we already banned people with mental illness from owning guns. So I don't see a problem with trying to keep them out of the hands of trans people who say that.
Look at this dude on the left. This good old boy on the left is like stunned. He's like, whoa.
People who are adjudicated as mentally ill, Dr. Hawkins. We don't ban everybody on depressants or antidepressants from owning a gun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a debate that needs to be had. I will say that. Cam, AWR, we got
that fucking good old boy on the left. Fucking shout out to that good old boy on the left. He was like, his face was telling the whole story. He was like, he's like, hey man, he's like, I don't like them either, but I think they're people. Right. Anyway, everybody, thanks for hanging out for the podcast part of the show. It went long. We got some good stuff for Red Light. I think we're finding out that Mike Lindell's campaign for governor is mostly a fraud, actually. I don't know if anybody's going to be surprised by that. And then we got some Nikki Fuentes clips about how he's an expert on women, and got some election strategy. And then this guy, John Doyle, we've been kind of covering. He's just being John Doyle. And then, I don't know if you know this, the lieutenant governor of Indiana has a YouTube channel, and he did a Ask Me Anything on YouTube. And so we're going to check that out. And then we have something straight from America's Voice. It is somebody did not like the Super Bowl halftime show, if you could imagine that. Did you know that people were mad about that? Did you know that people are still mad about it this week? People are going to stay mad about it for a while, and I hope they stay mad. I knew that Bad Bunny was popular, but what I learned from the Super Bowl halftime show is actually Bad Bunny's shit slaps. So much different, cool, like music with influence from the United States of America, all the way, probably not a lot of Canadian influence, but I don't know, all the way down to the tip of Argentina, and probably global influence that I'm not even aware of. So if you want to support this project, go ahead and do that at patreon.com/echoplex or at eplex.store. If you're watching on Twitch, you know how monetization works. I'm going to change the content of my beverage. I'm going to color the lights in here, and we're going to go into Red Light. This is Boomers by Periscope. This song gets better every week.